anybody is on today. Been a while since I've been on live. So we are going to wait and see if anyone gets on. This is going to take place of our midweek refuel. And just wait for a couple of folks to come on. Hello, everybody who's joining us. Black Sugar, Cherry Blossom, Helmet Carson, Munoz. Hi, Cherry Blossom. This is just our midweek refuel. I figured I would do a live here on Instagram because it's the easiest form of live that I can do. Kind of hard, excuse me, to go on Instagram. I've been kind of in and out for the past week and a half or so, mainly because I lost my father-in-law. And you know, it when you lose people, it makes you start thinking about your own mortality type of thing, and it really makes you start to wonder, you know, how far is my body going to take me and things of that nature. Hi, Hope. Hi, New York City, Negra, and Dr. J. I appreciate your condolence, Miss Cherry Blossom. But you know what? I haven't been posting as much as I usually post, simply because I've been in reflection. And in my reflection, I had to really start thinking about my own life as I live it and how important it is to live well beyond anything that, you know, takes hold of us, especially this lupus. You know, although my father-in-law had gotten sick and he was a little aged, it still hurts when people leave. And it still makes you think, you know, how important is it to live even when you're not feeling well. You know, my father-in-law lived a very well life, very good life, very long, you know, as long as he was supposed to be here. And what he taught me was you can't let anything stop you from living well beyond anything that takes hold of your body. He taught me that life is worth living and going all out no matter what. You know what I mean? And that's important because I think when we find out we have lupus, we're diagnosed, it becomes a challenge to live well beyond that diagnosis. And I guess what I want to talk about for the midweek refuel is living well beyond lupus and not allowing lupus to steal your joy. Not allowing lupus to make you feel that you can't live a normal life. Not allowing lupus to take so control over you that you're unhappy and you're not willing to live beyond the constraints of its pain. I think it's important that we make a plan to make sure that we can do that, you know, and to make sure that we take the time to really sit down and see, how can I do the things that I like to do beyond lupus? If I like to hike, how can I modify that so that I can still do that and still have a feeling of being who I used to be before lupus, but not injuring myself? How can I go running when I'm in pain? Maybe I can walk. Maybe I can modify that in order for me to feel like I am more than just lupus. And it's important for us to really get to the point where we understand that although we have lupus, it's important for us to do everything that we can to live well beyond lupus. And that takes action, that takes a modified plan, and it takes just an acceptance of having something that has changed your life but doesn't change your progress in life. It doesn't change your purpose in life. it doesn't change who you are beyond lupus. And you know, it just kind of makes you think that although lupus is challenging, and you know, we have all these issues, we're always in pain. You know what? My father-in-law didn't have both legs. He had diabetes. You know, he had a lot of surgeries. But you know what? He lived well in spite of everything that he had gone through. And he taught, you know, you might not realize that people are teaching you even as they're living. But he taught me that it's important to just, you know, live beyond the things that might have you a little slower. You know, lupus has you a little slower. Lupus might have you in a little bit more pain. But always try and do things that make you happy beyond lupus. And always try and make sure that you are doing things that are creating happiness for you. That you're not living your life as a slave to lupus. And I know sometimes it's said, you know, people always say it's easier said when done. What I always say, and I've always taught my son this as well, it's easier done when said, and action, concerted action is put forth to make it happen. And sometimes I feel that even me as a lupus warrior, I have lupus, RA, diabetes, I have all these things going on, and we all do. But I really make a concerted action to live well beyond lupus. I do things that it may push the bar a little bit, but know my limits. So, you know, I just want you to know that you are worth more than the pain that lupus brings you. You are worth more than the struggle that it has presented before you. You are worth more than anything that lupus can do to you. You just have to modify what you're doing and how you're living. When you're in pain, you know, you got to stop and rest. Not because lupus says so, but just because you want to make sure that you're okay and you're not overdoing stuff. But when you feel good, try and do the things and modifications that you like to do. This way, you can feel like you're really beating lupus. Sometimes, you know, you might want to go out and do a walk, and usually you do a 10-minute walk, and you did a 20-minute walk today, and that makes you feel better. It's tiring, don't get me wrong, but it makes you feel better. It makes you know that lupus is not in charge. You know, lupus is not the boss of you. You know how the kids say, you're not the boss of me. Tell lupus that you're not the boss of me. You know, okay, sometimes you might say to me, you know, sit your behind down, and that's fine. You got to sit down when you have to sit down, and you have to know your limitations. But try and do the things that you still like beyond lupus. You know, just do them in modification. So I guess the midweek refuel for this week would be live your life well beyond lupus. Just do it with modifications. Don't get caught up on what you can't do. Get caught up in what you can do and enjoy that while you're doing it. Don't allow lupus to steal your joy. Just make sure that you know your limits and understand that there is life beyond lupus. There is life beyond the pain. And although right now may feel difficult, tomorrow's a new day. The next nanosecond is new. You've never seen it before. And all the days that you thought that you could not make it, you made it 100%. And you need to pat yourself on the back for that, because it could have been something different. So that's our midweek refuel modification. Living well beyond lupus. And making sure that you are understanding your limits so you can have a good time and live well beyond lupus. You don't have to be sad all the time. You don't have to be in pain all the time. Even though sometimes we are in pain, once we begin to learn and accept the things that are going on in our body, we can learn to look at them a little bit differently. And we can learn to really set our mind right to see the pain differently so that our body can react just a little bit differently. That's not to say that the pain is all in your head. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that we need to make a conscious effort to train our brain to look at our pain differently so that we can live well beyond lupus. So I appreciate everyone who joined in. We will save this and upload it. So your midweek refuel, what is today? June 10th, 2 days after my birthday. June 10th is modification so that you can live well beyond lupus. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope that you have a great day. Please keep my family in your prayers as we go to bury my father-in-law. Love you all. Have a great day. Bye.